What's up, guys? We are Tottenham TV here, and have got another match preview for the massive London derby on Sunday, 4:30 against Chelsea at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. This game, in the context of how the season's gone, couldn't be much bigger. If we win, we go into the top four for the first time probably since like September time, but we haven't been in the top four in a long time. And 5 games ago, we were 12 points behind Chelsea, and this could really cap off what has been a remarkable recovery in the past 5 games for us.
Definitely, and I think we're coming into it full of confidence. Chelsea coming into it after a bit of a rocky patch, after going for a really sublime patch where everyone thought they were pretty much nailed on for the top 4 the way they were playing. But things have changed. The unexpected results against West Ham and I think it was Bournemouth, where they've lost, where no one expected them to lose, and we've had kind of good results under Jose, barring the Manchester United game. But we're on the back of a brilliant win away at Wolves, who were also on top of us when we played them. Albeit we didn't play too well, but we got the 3 points, which was the main thing. But don't take this the wrong way, because Chelsea are going to bring their A game this weekend.
They have to.
Yeah, no bones about it. It's their biggest game of the season coming to Spurs. We're their biggest rivals. They're not our biggest rivals, but that's the case for many London clubs, isn't it?
We're number one hated club in London.
Exactly, we're number 1 enemy to all of them. So it's going to be a feisty game. It's going to be an intense game, and it is a massive game, probably our biggest game of the season so far.
Even I was getting to the point when I was writing up our top 4 chances. Obviously, after that Sheffield United game, we were sat 12 points behind.
Even the eternal optimist.
Yeah, I was even struggling to see how we were going to do it, but somehow we've turned it around. Do you think people are getting too excited about Chelsea when going through their good run, or do you still think they're a very good side?
They are a very good side. When they were going through their good patch, they reminded me of when Poch first came to Spurs, full of youth, full of running, full of passion, full of desire.
So do you expect their form to turn around again?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to go in patches this season. Obviously, Frank Lampard, he's a very new manager, did a good job with Derby last season, but he hasn't had a job apart from that. So I think the jury's still out on Frank Lampard. I don't think that you can say, he's a great manager because he's had a few good games with Chelsea. Obviously, it's still first half of the season going into the second half. But he's done a very good job there. But I don't think that he's there yet. And I think that he's still got a lot of proving to do.
So you don't think it's a case of the players not being as good as we thought they were? You think it's just a case of them being out of form?
It remains to be seen, because they're very young players. Most of them, it's their first year in the Premier League. You're looking at Tammy Abraham, Mason Mount, who've been very good this season. Pulisic as well. You've got to give these players time to kind of adapt to the Premier League. Yes, they've had good performances and they've had bad performances, but it's going to take them time to actually properly get in their stride.
Would you say we have the better squad?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I think we've got a better squad. They've got we've got squads at 2 different ends of the tail. We're kind of like, we've had our young and vibrant run, and we're like kind of not aging, but getting to that age where players should be in their kind of peak. Chelsea are much younger than that, and they've got players that need to prove themselves.
We're at that. Yeah, I agree with you. We're at that stage where we've had that experience now. We can't. There's no more. This team is inexperienced. This team needs to learn from their defeats and stuff. Like we should have learned already now. Though that's where we're at.
Exactly.
We should have had. We should, when we get to these final stages now, we should have that experience where we shouldn't be making the same mistakes as we used to be. Where Chelsea still have to make those mistakes.
Definitely.
In theory, but there's players like Tammy Abraham who had a blistering start to the season. He's gone off the boil a bit now. Do you think he'll be going to the Euros? Do you think he'll make the squad?
It's a bit early to say, but you've got Rashford banging form at the moment. You've got Harry Kane, who's captain. He could go there as a third striker, but he's not good enough to start just yet. But he's got time on his side. That's the point.
Where I think Chelsea win over us is central midfield, because I love their central midfield options: Kovacic, Jorginho, and Kante.
Never say you love anything about Chelsea ever again.
No, I don't like Chelsea. I like their specific players. I wish we had signed Kovacic when we had the chance. Jorginho, I think, has come into his own this season. Kante is Kante. Do you think we could win that midfield battle, or do you think it's just kind of getting it in the other directions? On the pitch.
I mean, it all depends on what happens on the day. Because I remember when Chelsea came to White Hart Lane, when they were They were champions that year. They had a brilliant team, and we played them with Mason and Bentaleb and completely overran them in midfield. So it all really depends what happens on the day. Obviously, on paper, if we're going to play, let's say, for argument's sake, we're going to play Dyer and Sissoko. Or,
assuming so, yeah.
Yeah, so
or maybe Winks, but I'll just say Dyer and Sissoko.
Yeah, so their midfield is clearly better than ours on paper. You know, Kante speaks for itself, but it all depends on the occasion, how the players handle the occasion, and form going into the game as well.
It's our first big game against the top 6 side in the Premier League at the new stadium. How much of a factor for you is that going to play? Do you think the crowd are going to be well up for it?
The crowd have to be up for it. They have to be up for it, and there's going to be, when teams like Chelsea and Arsenal and West Ham and all these teams used to come to White Hart Lane, there was always like big commotion going on outside the stadium, and we haven't seen that yet since we've moved into this stadium. So there's going to be a lot of buzz and excitement around this game. Obviously, I think the stadium will be rocking probably for the best this season we've seen, because the atmosphere hasn't been that great this season, has it, at the stadium?
Yeah, but it's interesting. It's taken so long to have like a massive game in the Premier League here, and hopefully it's going to be. I'm excited. Hopefully the South Stand's going to be absolutely bouncing.
Yeah.
And you've got to think that if the crowd are on it, they're just going to will the team to victory.
Yeah, it's like in those later years at White Hart Lane under Redknapp, under Poch, when these teams came to White Hart Lane, you just knew we were going to win just because of the buzz inside the stadium of the home fans. You know, when Arsenal used to come, when Chelsea used to come, United, even Liverpool, they used to come, and even from the first few minutes you could tell fans were up for it, players were up for it, and we're most likely going to win the game.
Yeah. And there's players like Dele Alli, who has a fantastic record against Chelsea, really good record. Especially, last season White Hart Lane got those 2 goals, FA Cup semi-final. The first win at Stamford Bridge, he got a brace. Yeah. First win in 28 years.
They hate him, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely, and for good reason. Love that from Dele, and he's banging form at the right time. How big you think he's going to play a big part on Sunday?
Of course, he plays a big part in every one of our games since Jose has come, apart from maybe that Wolves game where he was a bit quiet. When he's on his game, Dele, he's unplayable. He really is. But you can say that about a lot of players, to be honest. But this game, there's going to be a lot of goals, I think.
I can see a high score, and I agree with you.
I think Chelsea concede a lot, we concede a lot, and we both score a lot as well. So it's going to be interesting. It might be cagey for the first 5-10 minutes, but once that first goal goes in, it could be ding-dong battle.
I agree with that. I think both teams are going to go for the win, for sure. I think that's the only way we know how to play. And I think both defences have been very poor this season, and it could be a case of just who scores more goals. And I think at the moment our attack is quality at the moment. I think once we get in the attacking positions, we can be really creative and really dangerous and sharp. And I think Chelsea are going through a bit of a rocky patch up front. It's going at the back as well, but up front they're turning a bit blunt as well. Pulisic, Willian and Abraham not really working as well as they have been at the beginning of the season. But it could play into their hands if we go and take an attacking approach, because the other guys have had a more defensive approach, and that's how they've stopped Chelsea.
Nah, Jose, he'll take a pragmatic approach to the game, and we will kind of look for the attacks on the break, I think. But form doesn't always tell the whole story, because it's a derby, it's a massive game, so I think form really does go out the window for a game like this.
How much of a body blow to Chelsea is it if we win this game and go into the top 4? Do you think that's a massive blow in the context of the season?
It's a blow, just because when Mourinho came, we were 12 points behind them, and now we're 3 points behind them going into a game against them. But having said that, even if we do beat them this game, it's not a foregone conclusion, is it? Like, anyone can finish in the top 4. There's a long, long way of the season still to go.
It's true. But I think, as you say, the fact that we have a better playing squad and we're on the up, the momentum is with us. If we can overtake Chelsea before even Christmas, I think it could be a big psychological blow to Chelsea, I feel, because it's very much they had that tight-knit group and they had that winning feeling, and they just were continuing it. And once they had that one loss against City, all of a sudden started to unravel a bit.
The cracks start to appear.
And now they're big cracks.
Yeah.
And if we get that psychological, especially if we win convincingly, that could be a big psychological blow to them.
That's what it's like for a young team, because the mentality's not all there just yet. You might have quality on a pitch, but you need to put quality with the mentality. And obviously, they've got a young manager, young squad. So I think there's still a lot of learning to do over there at Chelsea, and I think cracks are going to appear throughout the season. They're not the finished article, nowhere near it. So, and obviously they had that transfer ban last year, and that's over now. So it'll be interesting to see who they actually sign and what happens if they revert back to the Chelsea that they used to be, where they don't care about youth and they just sign players, and then all these players will be wasted. You know, if they go back to the Chelsea that they used to be, Tammy Abraham, Mason Mount, and all these players, they're done at Chelsea.
But that was the difference this season, because they had that transfer ban. They had that real tight knit group together, and that's what got the good feeling back at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
Was having those youngsters in the team coming through the academy and having that energy and exuberance that they've showed on the pitch. And if they lose that, then that could negatively impact them, I feel.
Yeah, I agree. And you never know. Like, let's say Lampard's got this war chest apparently to spend from, so the media say, and it's interesting to see if he actually spends that money or he just buys a few like youthful players to fit into his squad. Because if he does go and spend the money on like big players, it could hurt the players like Mason Mount and Tammy Abraham that have done so well for them this season.
Do you think it's if he's under pressure, Lampard, if they don't make top 4 this season?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Coming into the season, no one thought they would get top 4. Maybe because of the start to the season they had. And
expectations gone up a bit.
Expectation has rose, but I think if you speak to a Chelsea fan, I think if they make the top 4, they'll be happy. If they don't make the top 4, obviously they won't be happy, but they'll accept it because they know they're a work in progress.
All right, what's your prediction for the game then?
3-2 to Spurs.
3-2, that's what I said in my preview of Lewis. I said 3-2. I am expecting a lot of goals. It could be just a case of who can get more goals in this game.
I'm going to go Dele Alli to get 2 and Harry Kane to get 1.
Kane as well, another one, good record of London derbies.
Yeah.
I also said 3-2. It's going to be a feisty one. It's going to be an exciting one. I can't wait to get stuck in on Sunday, to be honest.
It's going to be the old ding-dong battle, isn't it?
Yeah, the old ding-dong.
Yeah, the old ding-dong.
All right, let us know in the comments below how you think the game is going to go. How do you think we're going to approach the game? Let us know in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you like our content. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Massive game.